Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate. This is episode 61 of our Star Wars Unlimited podcast. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. I know we just streamed a podcast and we're here. We just did this 3 days ago. So I'm a little excited and I'm a little tired because we had like a 2-hour stream and I was gonna break the video apart and I was like, nope, I'm just gonna make it one stream and you can all. If enough people comment on it and say, well, let's break this video apart, we'll do it. But FFG released all of the cards. We're going to get into why they did that a little bit tonight and talk about it and talk about our thoughts on that. But they released all of the cards for the set all the way up to the end. And so now we have all of the cards and you can start list building like 3 weeks before. So it's kind of exciting. But tonight we're going to talk a little bit about Force Throw. We're going to talk about whether we should not ban it, whether it needs to be gotten rid of or errated, but we're going to look at statistics. And that's, I say this lightly that like, we're going to have a conversation about Force Throw, but it's going to be very data driven. And it's not just like my opinion is Force Throw sucks because I don't like it being played against me. So we're going to try and have a little bit more statistic driven conversation around it. We're also going to talk a little bit about the last PQ that kind of came out, a little bit about Store Champs. And then that'll probably be the last we talk about them. Well, I don't know, because we might talk about them if I go to a PQ here next week. So who knows? And then we're also going to talk a little bit about what we're excited for leader wise and card wise for the past sets, kind of what we feel could possibly be some leaders that you should look at and build into. With that being said, please welcome to the show, Mr. Alex, the bench warmer. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing okay. I saw Ballerina earlier today, and that was really fun.
Oh.
I enjoyed me some flamethrowers. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I've not heard of that one, so I guess I don't know what that one is. Is it a new horror movie or something?
It's a spin-off of John Wick.
Oh, okay.
De Armas. Yeah.
I see.
So it was fine, you know. And there's a store showdown I went to yesterday. I got top 4, but you know, it is what it is.
Fair enough. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Also joining us is JJ. How are you today, sir?
Doing all right. They had a lot of fun actually going through all these new cards that came out and stuff, and just excited to go through that. However, just X-Wing related, I have to express my joy that I have my number 1 player with me tonight here, Mr. Chris Tanner, who will never retire from X-Wing ever, and will be retained most likely as my draft pick for next season because he's too good to let go for the free agency. But yeah, beyond that, it's been great.
Yeah, that's because our season came down to like our 4th week win. And the game came down to me, and luckily I didn't check my text messages this morning. I had a feeling it was going to happen, that it would come down to me, but it ended up coming down. It did come down to just me, in fairness. It came down to me, and it came down to Fox's winning. But I mean, they're what, 9-0 or something like that at the time. Yeah. So like the probability that team was going to win was probably pretty high. Like I want to know who they have on their team that like who's overperforming, because holy crap, like that's great. 9-0.
Yeah,
10-0 now. That's
no, they're 9-1, but yeah,
okay.
It's a hell of a record.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, we have a lot of fun things to cover. So we did go to Store Champs this weekend. I played in one, and Alex, you also played in one. Ironically enough,
I did. Yes, unfortunately, I couldn't make it to your side of the state because this one had store credit I already had. So
yeah,
right on that.
Nice.
It's free.
That's fair enough. It's a good thing you didn't come because like I played your list for the most part. I changed a few things, but for the most part, I did. I guess to tech to the local meta. That's why. So there's a couple of things I changed around. And I'll say I lost to Han Data or Han 1 Data Vault, which was my second round. Yeah, it was my second round. We had an Akbar, a gentleman that came from New York that lives out in New York, and whenever he comes to visit family, he comes and plays at our store. So that was really fun. And there's I should have put the picture on the slide. Damn it. He played Akbar Data Vault, and he actually has a showcase, and he built a little like Lego bike type thing, and he puts Akbar in it. So when he deploys Akbar goes on the bike. and then he just
That was
rotates
really
it.
incredible. You sending that to me. That was so funny.
Yeah, I told him before we played. I was like, I have to send this to Alex. Like, he's going to be on our podcast. Just be prepared, because I'm telling you right now, everybody's going to think that's hilarious. And if I get a few seconds, I'll throw the picture in our doc, and we'll show you guys what it is. Because I think he should have just won automatically just because of that, but he did not. I guess that deck does not like Vader, so at all. That deck really does not like Vader.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I did not know any. Actually, that was the deck I was going to tech against, because I knew he'd be there, and he has that stupid choose sides, and I played around it the whole first game. Like, I mean, we probably went like to 12 or 13 resources, and I never played a crate dragon till the very end. And then because I didn't want him to take my crate dragon. Like, I know what it feels like. I play Pelt.
7 though.
He does,
He
and
does
that. He pointed that out to me. He's like, you know what? You could just deal 7 damage back to it. And I was like, no, I didn't know. I didn't think of that. I was like, oh well, that sucks. I should have just played it a long time ago, because it would have ended the game pretty quickly. Because he couldn't play. He wouldn't be able to play any cards at that point.
Dang.
And I was going to play choose sides as a sideboard card, and then I was like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go that far down the rabbit hole. Like, I like choose sides, but I never have enough units out that I cared to do that. Like, what am I going to give you, my Devastator? You know, like, once in a while you can have
an Annihilator.
Sure. Fair enough. So I went 3-1 in Swiss, and then I had to replay. I came in second in Swiss, and then I had to replay. No, I came in third. I came in third in Swiss, and I had to replay second place, which was a Han 1 Data Vault. And again, game 1 wiped the board. I don't know what it is about him that he did that, but he wiped the board with me, and then he turned around, and I won the next 2 games. And I feel bad, because he had me like literally both games. Well, the second game he conceded because there was no way he was going to win. The third game he had me with 3 to 4 health on my base every turn, and I would just I'd play a Devastator and wipe out his unit. He'd play another ground unit. Instead of swinging, I'd just claim. I was like, all right, I'm gonna play Overwhelming Barrage next turn, and then he'd play I clear his units, and then he'd play 2 more or another 2 units, and I'd deal with the one. And he would try to dirtle, and then I would claim again. Every time I was like, I don't even care if it puts me at lethal or not, or close to lethal. I'm not going to let you get any farther out health of the base. So then it went from 29 down to 26, down to 23 or something like that, because I had the reinforcement walkers. And then I had enough resources one turn to play an Overwhelming Barrage on my Devastator, clear his board, swing in with it, and overwrite my Devastator to clear whatever other unit he put down. And then at that point, he just conceded. He's like, Sam was like, I'm done. He's like, all right, you just have this. This is ridiculous. You have 15 resources. I just kept resourcing because I didn't.
People are damn. Yeah. I mean, you draw some ramp late game, you don't need it.
Yeah. I just didn't know what to do with it. I think the key to beating that Han 1 Data Vault is you have to have ramp no matter. If you do not have ramp, if they strip your ramp or you you resource your ramp, you lose that game. It's just an instant loss. Because he could put out that could put out enough damage to stop you. But what I did is I had moved your Fang. What I did for the changes is I put the Fang Fighters in the sideboard, and I moved 2 of the that's fine. But I put 2 of the whatchamacallits in.
Traitorous?
No.
Piercing shots?
Nope. The Sentinels. I put the Sentinels in the main board.
The phase 3?
Yeah, because I just figured they would be. I thought I was going to face some more Sabine than I did, or I was going to get stuck playing a bunch of Cad Tarkin towns, which there was 2, ironically, there. And so I wanted it for those, and I wanted it because there was a guy that was playing a Unity of Purpose deck, and I needed the Sentinels just in case things got done. So yeah. So anyway, then we went to top 1, and then I didn't we decided to split pricing because the guy wanted the champion promo. I already have one, so it was worth $40, and he was going to get store credit, and he just gave me all the store credit for the thing, and then we split all the prize packs. And then he pulled a showcase out of his
That's what you get for being nice.
Yep, but I pulled 7 or 8 legendaries. So I pulled 2 Devastators, 2 Planetary Bombardments. One was a hyperspace foil. One pack had a Hondo in it, and like in the back of it for whatever reason as a foil, and then the one in front of it, the card for the legendary in front of it was an Invincible, which I don't even need this card, but or not Invincible. Yeah, it was Invincible. It's whatever the yellow separatist ship is. So I don't even need the card because I have those cards. But you know, like the one pack just had. So I got like 7 or 8 legendaries out of that one, and then the other prize packs that we opened earlier in the day, the complimentary ones, I ended up with like another 2 legendaries out of that. But Sam was the real winner. He got like 8 packs and ended up pulling a Vader showcase in his.
Nice.
And then he went up front with his store credit and bought a pack of the expensive stuff, the Carbonite, and then he pulled a Rio showcase out of that too.
Wow.
I was like, oh, so that dude just walked away with 2 showcases today.
I got a corporate defense shuttle in my bonus pack.
I bet that's real exciting. I bet you love that.
Yeah, the 3/5 2-cost space unit that can't attack. It's cool. It's rare. I love it. I think it was a Rampart was the other one. So I see where all the luck went.
Yeah, it was like at our store, like we've done prize packs and like nobody's pulled a showcase outside of like pre-release stuff. And like we had 2 technically 2 of them pulled, and one of them being the expensive one. Which is fine because I already had my Vader. It sucks as if I had gotten that other Vader, that would be easy trade mate material for a Thrawn. So, because I would like my Thrawn 4 showcase. But anyway, that's enough of mine. Alex, do you want to go through do you want to talk a little bit about your store, champ? Or
no? I brought the Vader deck because I didn't make anything new.
Same here.
Been kind of busy. So I just brought that. Played against Kira Data Vault first round. Never lost to a Kira Data Vault. Don't think I've actually ever lost to a Kira deck ever in my life. But hard to win when they triple ramp on you and you still pull 0 when you have more ramp in your deck than they do. So it's hard to win when they're dropping like Snokes and Avengers and you're just like, cool, next turn I'll flip Vader. Just you wait. So I got a couple close games out of that, but then I played a Vader pilot deck, which just got absolutely destroyed by that Vader deck, my Vader deck. And then I played a Gar Saxon yellow deck, which got a little bit dicey. But I pulled it out because
it's a nice archetype.
I also have piercing shots in my side deck, so nice. They are there for like Gar Saxon, for like Rays and Kiras. So that helps when you can just like plow through their shield and then just kill whatever unit they're hiding behind.
Nice.
You know, they don't get the upgrades, so it was fun.
Yeah, JJ, did you have a store showdown you were going to this week, or is that next week?
No, it was this weekend. Unfortunately, I had family in town, so I ended up not going. But I actually have been playing quite a bit with Gar Saxon Yellow, and man, it's a lot of fun, especially with the newer cards that came out for JTL, and I've just been really enjoying that. I actually would have probably, it was a toss up between JTL Thrawn Green and Gar Saxon Yellow, but man, it's a lot of fun. Like I really enjoyed that deck.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit before we get into some of the other stuff. Let's talk a tiny bit about the news, which there's not a lot of news, but essentially, I think we missed this, or I missed this. I just saw that they updated the site, and people were saying they updated the site. They actually released it all because somebody leaked that, or was leaking them, but not sharing the leak very privately, because I didn't hear anything about a leak until I saw this morning, and then I was like, oh.
Yeah. From what I heard, what I believe is they had like a laptop open at like the regional in Minnesota or whatever, and someone just like took pictures of all the new cars as they're scrolling through. Or like, physically scrolled through their laptop taking pictures of all the releases. So
it sounds like a
classic move on FFG to actually like, no, we're not going to give anyone an advantage. Here's all the cards. Sorry for all the content creators that were going to reveal cards. Way to go, guys.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm a little sad about. Like, not that we got a card this set, but like it is something that is nice as a content creator to be able to get your card and be able to just talk about it. And I don't know, am I happy we got the stuff a little bit early? Yes, because just because of Worlds coming up or Galactic Championship coming up. But like in reality, I would have rather like I kind of was hoping for 2 more weeks of being able to know JJ was wrong about Osha and Maya. And I just wanted to be able to rub that in his face in 2 weeks, and I don't get to now. Now I don't even like. Now it's like it's even so lackluster for the releases. And like the Anakin one that we talked about. Like I'm super excited actually for that leader, but I'm very sad because like I was hoping that like I bet you FFG has something super awesome planned. It was like I want to know, are they going to do this in the future? So there's things that I think we're going to miss out on a little bit. So I will be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed in people that do that, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. So, like I would say if FFG had been like really stingy about talking about things, I would probably feel a little less upset. But because if FFG has honestly been very open and honest with people, I give them props for releasing and not letting like a handful of people have access to it. And B, I also give, they have done such a good job communicating, to my opinion, for the most part, that like this just kind of feels like they had to take a blow to the face for it. But
yeah,
I don't know. So we get showcases early though, so that's going to be fun. Like that's what they said now is that we're going to talk about showcases. So I don't know. I'm excited about that. I want to see what that Anakin showcase looks like, so I know if I have to save my money up to buy that right away. Anyway, so that's kind of what it was. Let's move into our Chaos of War. We're not going to spend a lot of time actually at all on this. I just kind of wanted to kind of give an update. These are kind of the leaders that have won. So as you can see, Kira's still up there at the top. Han is in close second, coming up there behind him with a couple of other wins for some of the multiple color suites that he likes to live in. I'm waiting for a Han 2 Yellow to win something, I guess. Like that's that. I don't think a Han 2 Yellow has won anything. So
yeah, it's kind of awkward. I'm actually considering bringing like a Han 2 Blue to probably like a store showdown or something, just to have fun with it.
Yeah. So that's kind of what you can see here. The top 8 leaders, it's really the same. The same that we have is the Kira's on the top with Sabine's kind of right behind. And Quinlan's behind that. The Vaders, the Hans behind that. So I don't think we're going to see some of this stuff go away in the next couple of weeks. I think if you're prepping for a PQ, these are what I would be looking towards. Like I know we talked a little bit about the Quinlan fall off, but Quinlan's still up there, right? Like I know Quinlan won a lot at the beginning of the season, but man, I still think Quinlan being able to make top 8, like be number 3 here seems pretty good, right? Like that seems pretty big over a lot of these other leaders, So
yeah, it's still a really solid deck.
Yeah. So this is kind of like if you're planning on going, this is what I would be looking for, that you're going to have to be able to beat out these lists in the top 8. If you want to be able to get your buy at Worlds or whatever it's called. So yeah, so I don't know. Do you guys have any other thoughts on the current meta? I mean, it is what it is, right? Like I think, Alex, if you just said you're going to bring Han 2 Blue, if you were going to another store showdown, is that the same thing? If you're going to a PQ tomorrow, what would you be bringing? Han 2 Blue?
Oh no, I thought it was kind of interesting, so I wanted to test it out again. I haven't played Han 2 Blue since like set 2.
Yeah, I haven't either. My son plays it all the time. So I rebuilt Han 2 Blue actually for my son to play the Sword Showdown he didn't come to. So I did build it for him though.
Yeah, I think Han 2 Blue is actually pretty fun. I played Han quite a bit when set 2 came out, and he's only gotten better with all the newer cards that have come out that have a strong attack and just enough health for you to put him out with Han's ability, and it allows you to really just spam the board with a lot of units early on, just pressuring your opponent. Really good aggro leader, honestly, and it's only going to get better with the new set coming out. So Han definitely is a leader I would definitely would play.
Yeah, I mean, he's solid, and the less Tarkin Town in the meta, the better that deck becomes, right? So you can actually play his units without them immediately dying.
Exactly, yeah. Though I guess if you play a unit round 1 and they target town it, do you feel that bad? Like, especially if it's like a Yoda, like, oh, go ahead, target town my Yoda so I could get my card back, and now you don't have target town.
I mean, I'm sure people should be a little bit more disciplined than that.
I would hope so, but
I said should.
Anyway, so that's kind of what the meta is going to be if you're going to a PQ. I think at this current time, we're kind of like, let's go past the meta and let's actually just kind of start talking about next set, especially because we got all these new cards. And we got to do our leader rankings, baby. That's going to be coming up. Alex is going to hate me for it, and maybe we'll do it next weekend. I don't know. We'll see. So we'll skip past. Like I said, I didn't really have anything other than like I have kind of this France one, and this is, like, here you go. This is Quinlan winning over Ray, right? And you're seeing Han, Sabine, Palpatine, baby, go up there. 2 more Hans, a Bosk. We had another one in France where a Boba Fett Dadavelt won. And I do kind of wonder, like, if that's like a deck that we haven't seen make top that feels kind of like maybe we should be looking out for that.
Make top. It's won a couple PQs, I believe.
Has it? It might have.
Yeah, like I like that deck a lot. I was gonna bring that to the PQ, but I didn't get around to making it.
Well, it's almost like that Vader deck, right? Like it's similar to it.
It's similar, but like you just shove Boba Fett like on an MC30, and then he just swings for 10.
Yeah,
and tell your opponents to try to deal with my 9/9.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that like that's a deck. JTL Vader Target Town is a thing now, I guess. Like I don't know how, but I guess that's a thing. So that's something you got to look out for. I had no success with it, so I don't know how this had success. But hey, these are not small PQs either, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So those are kind of like the few PQ things. Like I said, the only thing I pulled this one up because you can see the Akbar Data Vault is becoming a thing. I again don't know how. I'm working on getting somebody on the show that can talk us through it. Like just so you know ahead of time, I'm working on that.
I want to, not a local of mine, but like kind of close, and also I played X-Wing with him. He plays, that's who like did like the mono yellow Akbar deck, and then now he brought Akbar Data Vault to the store showdown, the same one that won. I don't think he won a game. He might have won 1 round. I don't remember.
Yes. So I talked with the gentleman that brought it to ours a little bit, and like I don't know if it's just because it does very well against maybe like other aggro decks or other space decks, and it doesn't do well against control. Maybe that's its gimmick.
I mean, it is really good into aggro, sure, but
I don't know. When I played it online, I've lost like the majority. Like I was 50-50 for a while, and then everything just went south. So
I could see that.
And so I just stopped playing it. I was like, all right, I'm done. Like I have an Akbar showcase. I would love to play it. I'd love to build a little bike too and put it on it. Anyway, so the next segment I think that we'll do, let's talk a little bit about what cards are going to excite us. And I wanted to do this because I think like we always talk about the new stuff, but we have old leaders that we all love. We all think are great. We all think are possibly, like wish that he would get more love. I did not put Jabba in my list, unfortunately. We just didn't get enough. We just didn't get enough stuff to make Jabba good, I don't think. But I did put some other leaders in there that might surprise you. And I thought that it would be fun to kind of talk a little bit about this because I think it's worth, if you're playing this, it's worth revisiting. Especially the Force leaders is definitely worth revisiting, but it's worth revisiting because I think there's enough card pool now where we can have a little bit more diversity in some of our leaders. So we're not always just playing the same 5 or 6 leaders. And I think, with some of the way the Force is going to go, we'll talk about Force Throw later tonight, but I wanted to touch on this. And so I figured this is probably the easiest way to do it. All right. So these are the leaders that I kind of felt were like, we all kind of picked a few leaders. These are the ones that excited us a little bit. And what we'll do is we'll kind of go around the room and we'll talk a little bit about the 3 leaders and why we picked them. You don't have to go into super long detail. This doesn't have to be an 8-hour segment. guys. But I thought it would be fun to actually talk a little bit about some of the cards around some of these that we feel, or what our reasoning is by picking some of these. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So for mine here, I picked 3 leaders. The first one is going to be Kylo Ren, which he has gotten a lot stronger now that he has a lot of great units that are able to be played cheap. He has a lot more discard mechanics within the last 2 sets that have come out as well. And on top of that, he has a new lightsaber that he can take advantage of when he deploys on turn 4, which allows him to do some extra damage. When you combine that with some of the JTL cards that we've had, like Major Von Reg, for instance, his Interceptor is a great piece that deploys for cheap, and you could put pilots on there for cheap as well. Kylo is a beast that can be very aggressive early on and put in a lot of damage really quick. And your opponent has to be able to deal with that quick. And if they're not prepped for it, or if they have an off turn where they didn't have an opening hand, you're almost guaranteed that win. You have a lot of great options in Kylo now. That's going to make him stronger, especially now that we have more force units that are hidden, which allows Kylo to have that prep time. You can play a hidden unit and then they can't be attacked, which allows you to then use them the following turn and strike your opponent's base far easier, and you can equip them with extra gear if you need to, or use different force abilities. Kylo has a lot of different options there, and then on top of that, you pair that with some of the bases that are coming in with the new set that allow you to regain the force, which really amplifies those abilities by adding and doing additional damages to base or different opponents. It just really has Kylo firing all different cylinders there. In a different vein, the other leader that I picked was Padme. One of the things I felt Padme was weak is that she didn't have a really good selection of Republic units to really take advantage of her coordinate ability. Now that we've had a mix of different Jedi included with clones, and you have different units that can actually make additional like clone tokens and stuff, it's a lot easier to get her ability to work more reliably in order for you to have more Republic units out there. I think that she's somebody that we're going to see. She kind of reminds me of a light side Vader, and you're able to get out a lot of units quickly, and that should actually help improve her as well. And then Boba Fett being able to have the hidden keyword with a lot of the newer units, that's just more extra units that Boba can put out that allow him to keep them on the board for the following turn, when you could play a unit and then allow that hidden unit to now attack and have that boost and do well. So yeah.
Do you want me to go, or do you want to go next, baby?
I was waiting. I can go. Okay. So set 4 or 1 through 4, I tried to go with a leader from, a different set each, just for fun. The first one I went with is the Asajj from JTL, the blue Asajj, not the yellow one. Pilot Asajj to do 1 damage to herself, something else. A lot of really cool blue villain cards. A lot of them deal with the Force. Asajj is a Force. She also has the Knight trait as well. And I think there's a bunch of really cool cards, and I think she's a little bit underrated just in general. So it's just kind of cool to see where you can put her into places and she still can work pretty well. Not that there's not like an insane amount of grit coming in, so that's a little bit weird, but blue villainy still gets like Darth Vader now and Krell and Sidious and all that kind of high end stuff. That's pretty cool for Asajj.
Yeah, I actually had her on my list as well, and then I changed it when Alex said the same thing. I actually have been playtesting Asajj a little bit, just because I think I agree with you in the aspect of like her just being able to do that damage to something. Like, yeah, it sucks dealing the damage to a friendly unit, but being able to like just pick off something is great. And I'll tell you what, there's a combo. There's a stupid little lady. I can't remember the name of the card, but it gives -3 to something. And you could play it, right? And it gives that -3 to something, and then you can ping with that unit with Visage and kill something that's 4 health. So that's pretty neat little thing.
You got Ogdo-Bogdo.
And you got
Ogdo-Bogdo for
Bogdo
3 that can't attack unless it's damaged, and you just ping it first, and then oh no, it's damaged, and you just kill stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You can give him a lightsaber too. You know that, right?
Yeah, I mean, as a creature, why wouldn't you be able to give it a lightsaber?
Exactly. I mean, just or a blaster if you want to run this in red.
What you were thinking of, Tanner, though, was the Talzin's Assassin, the 4/4 for 4.
Yes.
When you use the Force, you can get a -3/-3. So, yeah, and like, with a lot of hidden units out there, if they like ambush or something in, or like other ways of doing damage, you just hit them with Visage, and it's free. It doesn't cost a resource, just a friendly unit, And there's a lot more stuff with shields too. So like, in a pinch, you can ping one of your shielded units. Up next, I have Grand Inquisitor, the original red one. Gotta mention him every set. One of these days he'll be tier 1. You're missing a visual head shake here.
Yeah,
but,
we'll see. We'll see, baby.
No, but there's a bunch of cool stuff. Actually, it's mostly like the Nihil units, right? Because they just have low attack but really high raid, which is what you would want for like a Grand Inquisitor deck. You got essentially a better Clan Challengers with Thralls of the Coven, so it's the 3/7 raid 3. So just hit that a couple times with GI. Got the Grand Inquisitor himself, which is really cool. So there's a bunch of little attack units with high health that have a bunch of raid. That's really nice for that. And last one I have is Rey, because man, there's a lot of really good blue stuff with the Force and Hero. So a bunch of 2 attack cards as well, and you just pump them up, and you can play mono blue, get Doom now, and just get a lot of experience tokens everywhere. But even something like Owen Lars, right? He's a 1-cost 0/3 restore 2. And you can bump him up with Rey if you wanted to, but when he's defeated, just search the top 5 cards for a Force unit.
Yeah, when you have a million of them, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, you just dig deeper in your deck for a 1-cost that you can pump on turn 1. So that's pretty cool stuff for Rey. Even like new Rey unit, although it doesn't work with Rey's ability, it is kind of cool if you're having a couple Reys in there, and then there's new Kylo, right? So just do whatever you want.
Yep.
Because I believe the villainy Kylo, right?
Yes,
it is a 2/3 for 2, and then when you play an upgrade, which you're probably not, you can use the Force to draw a card, but like you can still pump them up and play them for free in raid deck, and then just pump them up to a 3/4 overwhelm and start to, for 3 resources, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that new Kylo is going to be. I hope that's part of the kits that they give away for the weekly play, like so that I don't have to dig for those
Don't
cards.
do that one. Don't do that one because that Kylo doesn't have the text that the other Kylo has, where it could be played in a raid deck. Never mind. Bad suggestion by me.
Oh.
Discreetly edit it out. No one will ever know. You don't have to do that.
All right. So for my picks, I had a couple of different ones. So Asajj is number 1 of mine on my list, in fairness. But the other ones that I'm working a little bit looking into is Dooku, because we're actually getting quite a bit more separatist stuff than I thought we were going to get. Like, it's not just a onesie unit here. We're getting quite a few units. And the fact that you can the fact that his does not require it to have an exploit on it, he's just able to pay for things cheaper, means that you have the ability to play more separatist units now than we ever had before. And I would never encourage you to run off color, stuff very often, but you can technically do that, right? Because it only costs 1 less. You give exploit, it costs 1 less, yada yada yada. So you're only paying 1 more than you would for the penalty if you wanted to. But because we're getting quite a few separatist things, I feel like there's something possibly going on with him that we could mess with. And that's kind of what I've been trying to work on, is we had an okay Dooku yellow deck that we played. I'm looking at Dooku yellow and Dooku red again. And those are kind of the ones that I would like to try to figure out if there's a way to make separatist stuff become a thing. There is some really cool saboteur type units that are in, a separatist, and you could play Grievous's wheel bike if you really want to, right? So there's some cool stuff I think in there. And I think because they got more support than I was expecting, I want to go back and actually look at that and see if that's viable. My next pick was Lando, and I don't know if that's a surprise. I mean, that was like the third showcase that I bought was Lando when it went really cheap, and that's because they had that one deck where they actually made like top at a PQ, and then everybody's like, oh my gosh, and then nobody talks about this Lando anymore. And like I think that this Lando is still, because now we're getting things with a little bit more health on it that are now coming in cheaper. So like a 4 health unit can now be played for 2 costs. Whereas that was not as common as it was before. Now it's super common. So being able to play something on a cheaper curve and then give shields to things like Sentinels that really like it, I think there's enough stuff that Lando could possibly become like a B tier deck, if not closer to an A tier deck. Like I do genuinely think there's some stuff that pushes him up there. And so that's why I kind of like, I would like Lando to work A because I have the showcase. And B, because then I don't have to just have like an all Force deck. Like I get everybody's going to want to play a Force decks, but this guy over here doesn't always want to play a Force deck every time. So I think there's some viability a little bit to Lando. And my last pick was Maul, and that's just a personal pick of mine because I want Thrawn to be good. I don't think Thrawn got a ton of support this set, really. Like there's a couple of things in there that have win defeated, but like I don't think it's a lot. There's more win plate stuff that comes in, and Thrawn doesn't do that. So I picked Maul because Maul has the ability that overwhelm to things. And because you can play some Force units, and we're getting more Force units, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, because we're getting all these more Force units that are coming in red or new, like either red villain or red, just base red, you can now have some more powerful units that you can play around with Maul. And I think that there's going to be there's a possibility that a Maul red green deck, possibly maybe a red yellow deck would be fun, that you can start putting together, I think, for Maul to make him a little bit more viable. The fact that you could give him the overwhelm on whatever unit you want, as long as you attack with the unit, it feels really good right now. Especially if people are going to start putting Sentinels down. You'll be able to start chipping away at those Sentinels and still doing damage to base. And I think that's going to be important. In my opinion, it's going to be important because I think we're going to be having to be Sentineling up pretty hardcore with some of these new Jedis coming in. So, yeah, so those are kind of our leader picks. Anybody else have any thoughts before we talk a little bit about some cards?
A little bit of a shout out to Phasma because there's like more first order units than you'd expect. Mostly in like green where Phasma is. Yeah, just like cards that you don't necessarily think are first order, but you're just like, oh right, yeah, I guess it makes sense that the Praetorian Guard is a first order unit. So yeah.
I think Phasma could possibly like be that. Like we played a first order suite in Vader, right? With Vader 1. So
yep.
I think there could be something now with some of these other cards with Phasma. So if you got a Phasma showcase, folks, don't get rid of it because it might become more valuable. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's move on to some of the cards. I will tell you the first card I honestly forgot about was Now There Are Two of Them. I don't know why that's not on here. I know I had that. It's probably hidden under one of these other cards, but Now There Are Two of Them. It should just be right and center. It is if I am making a yellow deck that has Force units or anything, I now have, there's so much synergy you can do with that card. It could be next on the chopping block if we're not careful. Like that card is really, really good. Yeah. But so these are kind of some of the cards I felt could possibly make a comeback. I think Admiral Yularen was very underplayed last set. I don't know why, other than, I mean, he doesn't do anything to some extent, but
yep, he was fine. I messed around with him a little bit in Rey. I messed around with him a little bit in Lando and Luke. I'm just not it just doesn't seem super worth it. But we get more vehicles now, right? So the more your vehicle pool expands, the better potential he has.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of that's why I threw him in here is because I think there's some more potential there than we had before. But we'll see. Oh, you're right. We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe we won't. But I do think I don't know. I had been playing him in Lando, and I had loved him in Lando. But that was the only deck I'd been playing him in.
I caught him for my Lando deck because he wasn't doing anything.
I threw Stella and Jabba on there because I kind of think there's a lot more cards coming that they're going to be able to interact with, and people don't play Stella, and I don't know why.
I did for a while. It was pretty popular in the Anakin Colossus deck because you do, dig and draw more cards, and there's a lot of really good tactics like blue and red, and that's where it kind of filled its niche. But I'm not sure if there's any more oh man, look at this tactics card here I really need. I haven't really seen. Most of them are just force stuff.
Yeah,
but you get lightsaber throws a tactic and things like that.
Yeah, I think there's more. I think there's coming, and I think there is a niche, a world where maybe she could possibly be a little bit better, or more played. Maybe, I don't know.
On the
maybe
flip side, though, tricks.
Anakin.
A lot more tricks.
There's a ton of tricks.
Yeah, a lot more tricks in yellow.
Jabba just went up in stocks, baby. Buy your hyperspaces now, because I think if you're running an underworld deck with Jabba in it, it just makes more sense. I know people are already running them now, a little bit more than they had been, but I will tell you, the amount of tricks coming is just really good for Jabba. So
yeah,
I love Jabba, by the way, too. I just think Jabba is one of my favorite.
Isn't the trash compactor card? Is that not a trick?
I thought it was.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah,
it goes with
a trick.
It's worse, right?
Yeah, they're both tricks. So
yeah,
you can play a precarious predicament for one.
Yeah.
The next one was the Magna Guard Wing Leader. I only say that because there's more droids coming. I don't know if that card's going to really be any good or not, but I will tell you, action cheating, if you have lots of droids out, we saw Rebel Assault is pretty good. Now that gives you a buff. I get it, and that's part of the reason people like that. This is just an action, right? So this doesn't require you to play a card, but allows you to attack with 2 units, and
it doesn't exhaust it, notably.
Yep, it doesn't exhaust it. You can attack with this and then use as action. If you have 7 droids out, you can use it multiple times.
Once per turn still. There's a once per turn clause on it.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, but it doesn't exhaust, so that's pretty cool. But it's also not unique, right? So if you have multiple, so you use it multiple times a turn.
Yep, it's a little selfish because Tanner's, again, I'm building my Separatist Dooku deck, right? So and I like
Separatist and droids.
I do. I love my Vulture droids. Nobody else likes it. People just want to play bombing run and kill all my droids. It's what are they doing to you? They're only hitting you for 5 each.
Just on rock.
Yeah, give me a card that puts them on a rock and lets me avoid damage, negate damage. Put an asteroid in front of your droids and let them all land on it, and then negate damage accordingly. JJ, next year I want to play Separatists again.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I don't want resistance, so don't give me resistance. I put Barriss Offee on here, and I don't think her as an individual, her card text and all these other things, really is going to be that great. But she is a 1-cost force unit that activates your force throw. It also works very well. In my opinion, it works very well if you want to use her to be able to upgrade a lightsaber. You put Ahsoka's lightsaber on her, you could play her turn 2 and put another lightsaber. You could do a lot of cool things, I think, with her. She can die to pings, so I think you have to upgrade her. But I don't know. I was trying to look for some different things, and I think as a 1-drop, she might be pretty cool.
Guardian of the Wills is reprinted in this set.
Yep.
The 2/2 for 2 that lets you play an upgrade for 1 cheaper. So that might also follow the same logic you were saying with Barriss. So just upgrade, and it's a force unit, and it's 1 cheaper. So Also, a little notable card there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I just I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know. I have not tested a lot with her. But how about that Darth Maul though? I don't know about you, but I'm gonna put Darth Maul on the thing. I got Darth Maul in my decks again, baby.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe again, it's my pick because I think Maul could become good, and like I got Varl, and maybe it's because I just really love Maul. I don't know.
You just want to use a lightsaber.
I do want to use his lightsaber, and I'll tell you, I'm telling you, I have Maul in like 2 or 3 decks right now.
Yeah,
Like I
plus
actually
4,
do.
+2 gets overwhelmed for the attack. For
Yep.
both attacks, really, for him. So just find a way to give him a shield, so he just eats it all into one shield.
Yep. One of the other cards I put in there, Zillow Beast.
Yeah.
Because this set feels so ground heavy, and I know this is funny because he's just a creature unit, right? But I'm telling you, like if you're gonna play something like that could go to those resources, like in this new meta, like you could play that card and then they have to claim. Like they could have 10 units out and they aren't gonna do any damage. They're just gonna sit there. And your Zillow Beast is just going to laugh in their face. And yeah, next turn, but that could buy you a whole churn. And now you've got a 10/10 that can just like murder things, and it heals itself at the end of every round, which is weird that it heals itself. I don't know the lore behind that.
So essentially, whenever it was near a power source, it just absorbed the energy and just got better or bigger and bigger, basically.
Well, it would be even better if it didn't heal itself, but just gave itself grit. How about that? Could you imagine having like a 19-1 overwhelm? Like, oh, I would love it. Give that to me, baby.
Have overwhelm.
I know it should have overwhelm if it's going to become more powerful.
But it is a creature, and there's like creature synergy in this set, right? So that is notable. I love me some Zillow Beasts. I love dropping Zillow Beasts on people. I didn't like it when they Zillow Beast my Zillow Beast. That was a little frustrating, Justin, but you know, it's fun.
The one card I think that deserves an honorable mention in here that's not on here is the clone card, which allows you to just clone another card that you have already placed out there.
Clone a non-vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. Clone a non-vehicle unit. I mean that goes. I think that goes pretty well with Zillow Beast. So imagine having 2 of them back to back. That'd be great.
Or imagine I play clone on your Zillow Beast, and then you can cry a little bit because it'll be like Justin, right? You know?
Yeah.
I always want to do the dream of dropping 3 Crate Dragons and cloning a 4th one on someone. Just play 1 card and their base just blows up immediately. Never got around to doing it though, but
no,
I had clone in a sideboard for my Hero Boba deck for a little bit, and that was really fun. Nobody saw that coming. They're just like, "Oh, great."
So just so you know, I want you to know, Alex, if you do that to me and you decide not to attack my base or do anything, you're just playing Crate Dragons.
Yeah.
When you get that 3rd one out, I'm just gonna concede. Like if you won't attack my base, you're never gonna get to play clone. I'm just gonna concede. You're gonna have the game, motherfucker. Like,
hey, the game state is still progressing. I'm not stalling out the game. I'm just not playing any cards because I have 4 Crate Dragons out there.
Yeah, I'm cloning. I'm done. I'm literally just going to concede the game to you and move on with my life.
Just don't play anything that costs 8 or more. And then you won't be one shot.
I put Bendu on here because I think we're getting enough blue support that you can run a double blue deck, like Alex was saying earlier. And I think Bendu with that Sentinel ability and some of the I'm not telling you to run a Kylo deck yet. We're gonna test the Kylo deck, but I'm telling you, like I've played Bendu in Ray before in that version that Alex had, and this is last set. And it works very well. And now we're getting a lot more neutral stuff. And we're getting a lot more blue support. I think stocks go up in Bendu personally for this set. And again, notably, he's a creature and a force unit. So, and he's only 6. He's a 6 cost, right? Like 6 cost Sentinel.
You can play Size Matters Not for free if you have a force unit.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's even better.
But also, like playing Vigilance for 2 is really nasty.
Yep.
Or Anakin for 4. New Anakin here. So. I agree. There's a fair amount of not mono specifically, but mono blue cards that are now cheaper. Like Shatterpoint is probably a really nice target for 2 cost. You know,
Yeah, you now want that card, whereas before we're like, whatever. But hey, with Bendu, baby.
yeah. I mean, Bendu just ruins a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, so I think if you're going to play a double blue deck, you should immediately be considering Bendu. Period.
I tested Bendu versus like Obi-Wan for like Ray stuff, and even if I have like a high density of force units, I still kind of just went with Bendu, just because that the 7 health is more relevant than the 6 for Obi-Wan, and he's just right at that spot that he can't be felled or taken down. So it's just like a nice little sweet spot that also is like a massive problem for my opponent, and it's also a force unit.
Yeah,
so you can put like a lightsaber and stuff on him.
You can do all sorts of stupid things with him. You can even make him a Jedi at some point somehow. Like, I don't know how he's a rock Jedi, but I mean,
and then you run security complex and just put a shield on him because you haven't used it yet. It's cool.
I threw Fang Fighter. I think that's just obvious. Like, I think upgrade hate's going to become a thing. I mean, it might. The question becomes is like, if everybody plays so many upgrades, like, is upgrade hate even going to be worth it? Like, you can only run so much upgrade. Like in red, you can run 3 power failure, 3 Fang Fighters, and 3 confiscates, right? But like
and
after
aggression.
that, and aggression. There you go. If you run all red, you can just run aggression. But like
Poe, other things like there's a lot of upgrade removal.
So I think like Fang Fighters are just like that easy target, and a lot of people were running them because of pilots last set. Well, I don't think they go away. I think if you're gonna run red, you just run freaking more disabling Fang Fighters again. Everybody's gonna run this. I put Grief Karga on here, and I could already hear Alex going, "No, that's dumb." But being able to when played. When you get to search the top 5 cards of your deck for an upgrade and reveal it, if you're going to play an upgrade heavy deck, I think this is like we had this back when people didn't play a lot of upgrades, but there's so many more new upgrades and some cool stuff coming out that like I kind of feel Grief might have a place in that style of a deck. I mean, I won't lie and say that Mando's also on the radar to talk a little bit about. At some point, Mando might be able to kind of come back if upgrades and Voltroning become a thing. But Grief, I don't know. He's an official that allows you to dig for upgrades, I guess. So I think if you're going to run an upgrade deck, I think it becomes kind of important. But I also threw Kylo and Rey on there, even though I don't know, I don't know. Rey also has that sweet spot,
They are in aspect for the other counterparts now for the release, and that's why it's worth more of a consideration, right? Because Kylo, you have a red Rey now, and Kylo from the second set's red.
Yes,
and then Rey is blue, and you have blue Kylo. So
yeah, so I have not tested either of them. I do think I like the Rey a little bit better than I like that Kylo personally, if I'm being honest with you. Because again, I agree with you. It hits that sweet spot, right? And she has a resistance tag and a force tag. So if you want to fuck around with a resistance, like a Rey or a Kylo resistance style deck, I guess it wouldn't be a Kylo. It would have to be a Rey resistance style deck. You could do something like that. Excuse me, but I don't know. I think at least Rey is going to become. I guess I'm glad I have 7 Reys. For whatever reason. That said, I pulled so many stupid Reys, but I do think Rey becomes a thing more than she had been. Kyle I threw on there just because I think we should consider it, but we'll see. I don't know. Kyle is nasty when he attacks, right? Though, if he gets to sit around, he is kind of a nasty.
Yeah, I mean the attack boost is real nice.
Yeah, and he is only a 6 cost, so he doesn't need to go in super he doesn't have to be your top end unit. I don't know. I also put the 2 Inquisitors on there because I'm looking to build an Inquisitor deck, and that's just a selfish Tanner who wants to build an Inquisitor for
brother and 7th sister for specifications.
Yep. So I want my Inquisitor deck. JJ will run it as well. It'll be a thing. We're just gonna all run Inquisitor decks.
Yeah. Reva, baby. Reva.
Yep. I am actually heavily testing Reva right now. I love let's not go down that rabbit hole. Alex, I think you had mentioned Electro Staff before last week or last podcast.
Put it on Careful Purgle or whatever that is, the 2/7 5
Yeah.
cost Space Sentinel.
So I went back and kind of looked at it, and then I saw that it can go on like all sorts of crazy things. Like you can put it on a Bendu, and oh, by the way,
on vehicle.
it doesn't have a aspect except for blue, so Bendu likes that. And
Yeah,
I don't
play for
know.
free.
It seems pretty good, right? Because like you put it on a Sentinel, and he just says no to you. You just get -2, -2. So.
No, -1
Or -1,
attack
sorry.
when they attack. Yeah.
-1. Sorry. But I don't know. So I put that on there because you had mentioned it, and I actually started going back and looking at a lot of like what you can do with it, and I was like, okay, this is actually probably better than some of these
There's a
lightsabers we're seeing.
fair amount of like low attack but like really high health Sentinels.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot.
Yes, it makes because they keep it out of fell range still.
Right, and then it keeps it just the high health to a lot to chew through, and also you're doing less damage. So
The other one, I put Mandalorian armor on there. I think we talked a little bit about that last week too. There's some more Mandalorian stuff coming up. With that, I think that was an underrated card that we didn't see a lot of outside of like in draft and sealed. I went back and kind of looked at the Mandalorian stuff for it, and I was like, okay, there's a few more things this can go with. There's a possibility this actually might like have some niche favorability in like a Gar Saxon style deck. So, I don't know. You could disagree with me if you want, I guess, but I liked it. I thought it was probably good.
sure. I mean, there's a couple Mandalorian units.
Yeah. The other one, this one I think we should talk about, sword and shield maneuver, which I was like, why would I want this? But then I actually went and looked at it, and it says each friendly trooper unit gets raid 1 for this phase, and then each friendly Jedi unit gets Sentinel for this phase. And I was like, oh, like, so you have a 2-cost way to just stop them from attacking your base. Because if you're gonna play all Jedis, right? Like, I don't know. If it feels kind of good, I guess.
It is definitely a card that not a lot of people are thinking of because it was not really played outside of maybe some limited pre-release stuff.
Yeah.
But if there's a lot more Jedis, obviously that helps. There's a couple good troopers as well, but
it's mainly the Jedi thing is what I saw.
Right. It's a 2-cost. Let's give a bunch of Jedi some Sentinels.
Yeah. I did not look to see if we had a Jedi trooper, because that would be super awesome if we did.
I don't think how would that even work?
Well, Jedis were troopers, kind of. They play. I don't know. Let's keep moving. We don't have to talk about Force Throw yet. We'll talk about that in a second. But Force Lightning, I don't know. I've been actually playing Force Lightning again, and like I was like, man, I love this card. I forgot how much I love this card. Like, it's just this cheap 1-cost. I'm going to turn all of your abilities off, and oh, by the way, maybe I'll just kill you instead. And since there's so many more Force units in Villain than we ever had in our whole life, I don't know. Like, I think Force Lightning for a 1-cost. Okay, if they ban Force Throw for whatever reason, Force Lightning becomes a thing. So I would expect to see this Force Lightning more than I would expect. I do genuinely think it's going to become a good card.
At the PQ I was at in Ohio, I was playing a Tarkin Town Set 1 Vader, I believe in the 7th round, and he had Force Throws. Or, sorry, not Force Throws. He had Force Lightnings. And he would use it a lot when, like, Vader flipped. Or, just various, like, Fifth Brother. It's Force units out there. And, yeah, that can catch people by surprise. He actually just, like, would flip his Vader, and then if I left his Vader alive, he would just Force Lightning my Vader and just one-shot it. Which is a little bit frustrating, and it's a really nice out to like Crate Dragons, right? Because you can
it's a 1-cost.
Take 1 back. Yeah.
Yep. It's really good into some of these big creature decks, and I think that's why I'm a little more high on it. I know it's a villain card, and I tend to lean more villain-ish when I play this game, if you hadn't figured that out yet. But I don't know. I think this. If you don't own this card for whatever reason, go out and buy it. While it's cheap. Don't wait. Don't sleep on it.
Sure. I mean, like, I don't know. Force Lightning's nice, but We'll see. We'll see. It does require a lot of resources.
So then we have the next thing that I have, or maybe the last one that I have, is execute order 66, and that's more of a meme thing. I don't know if that's going to be worth playing, but I'm going to tell you what, for the first like month, if you haven't tested, that's a great sideboard card. Oh, they're going to play all Jedis? All right, screw you. I'm just going to kill them all.
Sure, but they got to play like Jedi specifically, right? So it ain't going to do much against
That's why it's a sideboard
typically
card.
villainy decks and stuff, right? Because the force units are usually the issues.
Sure. I don't know. I like it. I want to play it. I have some hyperspace foils of that card that I got, so I just want to be able to play that card. I don't know. Any other cards you guys think I missed that we should go over, or can we move on and talk a little bit about Force Throw?
Let's jump to Force Throw.
All right. With that being said, let's move on and talk a little bit about Force Throw. And I wanted to talk about this to kind of wrap the show up with, because I think this is a valid conversation to have. And it's only after I started looking at the numbers, I wanted to have this conversation. And I think we can have this conversation a little bit more now with the whole set spoiled, which sucks because I did all of my math and everything was done before the new set drop. And then the new set drop, or the rest of the set drop, and I had to go back and revise my numbers. And so I really wanted to say, let's look at the statistics. Let's talk about Force Throw. I hope you like my graphic image. It's Vader force throwing the Force Throw card. So I don't know, little meta there. So I guess, how about this? I don't know if you guys looked at my numbers before we get into it. Why don't you give me a quick hot take? Do you think they should ban Force Throw? JJ, you go first.
Yeah, unequivocally, yes. Just looking at the sheer number of available triggers to allow this happen, anything that becomes a guarantee for to trigger reliably just makes things a lot more less. Gosh, what's the word I want to say? Anytime you have like a sure thing that goes on there, it's going to be an auto include in that particular deck. And when it becomes like that, especially at such a low cost of what it is right now, I mean, a one cost red ability, I mean, heck, you can easily get that in a lot of different styles of decks that Reds is running. It's super potent for what it can do, and it almost always is beneficial to have this in your deck. Like, this is a mainstay card in your deck that you should have at all times there. And when it becomes overwhelmingly used like that, it can become a negative play experience overall, especially for what it can do. You're not only are you forcing your opponent to discard a card, you're also potentially killing a potential unit that's out on the board. So you're hampering your opponent's ability to be able to maintain a steady offense with it. There's no other card at this cost that can do what it can do. And because of that, its power level just needs to be tempered a bit. And until we get something that works similarly like this, that's at a higher cost point, or does one or the other, where you could choose either discard a card or deal damage, it's something that just unfortunately needs to be tempered down and be banned, unfortunately.
Alex, what is your hot take, baby?
Just like everything else, let's just wait and see. I mean, yeah, a lot more force units, a lot of, things can happen from that. No one's forcing you to run a bunch of high cost units in your hand when your opponent has it. I don't know. I mean, I can see why it'd be, very, very strong, and it's always been pretty strong. Now there's a lot of more cheap force units. I get it. I haven't really gotten burned by Force Throw in a long, long time, so maybe that's swaying my thoughts a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we'll wait and see. If it's like super crazy, then sure. If it's not, then it's just like another strong card out there. The efficiency of it though was really nice.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on and let's look at some statistics. And this is the reason why I wanted to actually do this. Is when I started looking at the numbers, I saw, okay, hold on, we probably should have a conversation about this. And I say this because part of this is predicated on the fact that we had Triple Dark Ray recently get banned, right? And like I think when they originally created that card, they sat down and they didn't have a ton of vehicles and they didn't have a ton of overpowered vehicles that you were like, oh my god, I want to play this for 5 cheaper. I think Force Throw is kind of the same way. Like we didn't have a ton of force shooting, so you had to have a specific deck. So up till now, up until set 5, we only had 19 force leaders, and with those force leaders, there was only 39 units. Now I know I'm not breaking down the difference between all of the different colors, yada yada yada, but I mean that significantly, that's quite a bit different. This set we're getting 18 new force leaders, which we knew was going to happen. And I don't think the leaders is what honestly pushes me to even have the conversation, because it's like, okay, whatever. Like you have a force leader, so what? Like your force leader's out for what, 1 turn before we kill it with Rivals Fall? So I don't know. Like, is it that big of a deal? But the units went or created 74 new units. So now not only are we talking not just 39. We have a total of 113 force units out of, let's see here. So that's got to be out of, if you have 250 cards a set on average, so 200 and let's just say 225 times 5 sets. So that's
1,250.
1,250. So you literally have 10% of your units. Almost 10% of your units are force units now. And this set is increasing at 74 units. So if we actually just look at the increase, overall, the actual increase, not just of the total cards for the set, but like overall, the increase is 195% and almost 300%, 290% unit increase. That's nuts, right? Like, and I get this is a force set. Like, I get that. But you are creating so many more potentials for it to be used. So if you think about it, like how many people played Rey to play Force Throw? Like how many times did you played Yoda? You played Obi-Wan. You had to have certain cards. You played Kanan. Like you had to build certain cards around it. Now you've got like 290% more opportunities to use it, right? And so just, I don't know, like that seemed like a pretty big increase. And that's kind of what made me go, all right, hold on, let's have a conversation. Now, this number was not as high on Thursday last week, just so you know. So, like, I was actually considering cutting the segment. And then when the number increased, I just felt we needed to talk a little bit about it.
It's a legitimate discussion.
So, now, this is where the actual discussion can happen, because this is the actual breakdown. So overall, I broke them down by colors. I broke them down by hero, villain, and what I would consider neutral. Like, so those are just your bland, vanilla, non-hero. They could go in any decks. I am happy to say there's only 32 that are in the neutral for units, so that's good. I think that's a little bit better of a statistic. I thought that would be a lot higher personally, but it is not. And you could kind of see now. This is all in together, right? So you could kind of now see which colors have like the highest range, which ones are a little bit more stable, yada yada yada. Now, the first thing I want to point out is if the unit is a double blue or a double green for whatever reason and doesn't have a villainy or hero aspect, I included it in the neutral. So I'm going to be blatantly honest. I was not creating a whole new category for that. I'm just not going to do it. Like, I don't think it throws the numbers off enough that we need to have that conversation. So yeah, so this is, you have 32 units of villain, 48 in hero, and 32 neutral. So if you play villain, you have an opportunity to have 64. If you're playing hero, you have an opportunity to have 80, which seems a little bit tilted, right, towards hero. As you can see, blue is the highest number, which I don't think is a surprise. Like, I don't think that's a surprise, right? Like, I think that's typical. Yeah. And as you can see, the red all across the board, there's actually more red villain force units than there is hero, which I thought was odd too, because like that's Force Throw, right? Force Throw is a red card. Green and yellow are insanely lopsided to hero. Like I can't the amount of villain units that you can run plus the neutral ones is still less than the hero. Just that's crazy to me. That's nuts. And same with the yellow. The yellow is exactly the same way. You like basically if you're going to run villain force decks to be able to maximize force throw, you have to pick blue almost to make it work for you for the most part. Unless for some reason those villain units are going to be so much better. Because of course you're picking red for force throw, right? I was excited to know that the number of just villain only and just hero only are 5 each. So I'm glad FFG was smart and didn't give a whole bunch of difference there. And we do get 2 neutral ones. So I guess that's kind of a bonus. You can add those to any deck you want. That being...
I mean, they're not good.
Well, I mean, the father might be good. You don't know.
The other one, I believe, is what, a 1/4 for 2? Yeah, okay.
That one's horrible. Yeah. That was not good. But with Han, you can play it for 1 less, right? And then you can have a force unit that play force throw in the same round. So
help.
Anyway, so sorry. Let's not go too far down the rabbit hole. But I don't know. What do you got? What is your initial thoughts when you see this? Like, I agree with you, Alex. Like, I like to wait things out, but like nobody did these numbers when we talked about Triple Dark Raid, and then look what Triple Dark Raid was. It was just all over the place. And
well, we also thought Triple Dark Raid was just an obscene card to begin with when it was first released.
It is, yeah. So, and I do agree with you. I think it's easier to play around Force Throw than it is Triple Dark Raid. Let's just be honest. Like, Triple Dark Raid is a lot harder to play around because you don't get to control that. Whereas the Force Throw, you can hold 1 cost or 0 cost cards. Like the best is playing Trench and throwing
force units.
Or kill their force units, you know. But because we're seeing the increase in force units, do you think that's still going to be possible? Like, is that still going to be a big possibility that you're going to always be able to control enough of the force units to make force throw not a thing?
I mean, if you're playing hard control, sure. If not, probably not.
Yeah.
But
and I think like we saw a lean towards yellow because of yellow villain, right? Specifically because Boba and Django were kind of not the greatest designed, right? And then Triple Dark Raid just enhanced them. And it kind of cornered a lot of villain players if you weren't playing hard control to play those, right? I mean, I played Django for a while, right? And like that's not even my style of play. Like I don't know why. I just like playing decks that win, I guess. But I played Django, at the very beginning of set 3, and like force throw being red, is that going to force people into wanting to play more red? Because like, okay. So let me ask you this. If you are playing a deck that does not have force throw in it, so whether you're playing a force deck or not is inconsequential, right? But you're playing a force deck or not a force deck, but you're not playing force throw, do you feel that card is impactful enough to push people into playing a red-centered deck?
I'm not sure if it will like force people to play red, but I think it's like if you're playing force and red, it's just kind of an auto include, right? Mm-hmm. Also, slightly related, because of the increased amount of force units, force choke is like super playable and just like hero decks, right? Like force hero decks, because if you have a force unit out there, it costs 3 for 5 damage. It's it's restricted to ground unit or not vehicle units. And your opponent draws a card, so it's still a little bit iffy, but you get a lot of really cool synergy with the new Anakin if you do it that way. So those are really nice for your force red stuff. Like I said, I'm not sure if it like draws people to like play it, but like again, if you have a forward stack and you're playing red, it's kind of like an auto include.
Yeah.
JJ, what do you feel like? Are you for next set? Are you like you're going to want to play Thrawn? I'm guessing, right? Or Gar Saxon, and neither one of those lend to a force throw style deck. Is there enough units? Do we have enough stuff that can counter force throw? I guess that's the question I have for you.
So, I mean, it largely depends on the local meta, right? Because if we're playing with a lot of like mill decks and stuff like that, I'm going to keep a couple of resupplies in my deck, right? So, discard a 0 cost, then, you know, you're not going to do any damage. But it's a very, very small fringe case. Overall, I mean, even if you're not doing like a full-on force deck, there are always force units that you always will consider to have in your deck, regardless, right? Especially if you're running villainy, it's very easy to have those units available. I had, even in my Thrawn deck, there are a couple of Nine Sisters that have when defeated abilities that I would absolutely integrate in my Thrawn red deck, which then brings the question, should I include the force throw? Which in my case, I would absolutely say yes, because anything that can help control my opponent's hand and also deal damage to a unit to reduce the amount of offense that they have on the board is definitely something I would want to auto include in my deck, and I would make space for it in my Thrawn deck if that was the case. So I think that, you know, it's something that again, it's just like if you can find a way to make sure that you're still getting the same amount of offensive output, regardless of the ability, right, of the card. If you're able to get the same amount of offensive output from a force unit, which, you know, this next set that's coming up has really good units that have that force trait, it just makes it easier for you to have that on as a bonus. Something that's not going to overly exhaust your resources, something that's going to be dependable, especially if you get the right ratios in your deck, and you can really do some really good work on key situations with your deck. And I mean, it's something that is going to be seen play even outside of like force only decks.
Yeah, and so that's a good point, and I think, you know, that's the question is like we talked a little bit about like what Django could do and like his ability and some of these cards that kind of made Django kind of broken, right? It's because we had things that just created larger negative play experiences, and while yes, you can work around force throw, I feel force throw for one is like super like so good because you're getting them to get rid of a card, and now it's almost, I'm going to put it this way. In my opinion, you're going to pretty much be at like a 65 to 75% chance of throwing damage, right? Now, if it was discard your own card, right, this would be a non-conversation starter because I think that is powerful, but you're harming yourself to do the damage, right? Yeah. It's kind of like force choke. You pay 2, you do 5 damage, you kill Sabine every time, and you laugh at them as you kill Sabine, but they get to draw a card out of it. So sometimes then they get to draw their wrecker, and then you get really sad because they got to play wrecker, and after you just killed their Sabine. And, you know, like, I don't know. But so that's what I'm saying is like, it feels like the downturn for this card is there's very little downturn to this card now. You now no longer have to tech your deck to be a force style deck. You can sprinkle in more force units. So if we're talking almost a 300% increase, what does that say when you normally only ran like 9 cards to 12 cards, 9 to 12 cards on average that were force units, besides your leader? We'll ignore your leader. Like, what percent increase is that now? Like, you just are able to do that. And like, I don't know. It feels bad, I guess.
Sure. There's still value to playing non-force cards in a force deck, probably. Like, you know, if you're playing blue, a really, you know, Village Protectors is a super cheap, durable Sentinel. So, like, that's still things that will probably take up your deck slots for, like, a lot of force decks. Sure, you'll get it off more. You still have to draw the card.
You do, but that was the same with Triple Dark Raid. You still had to draw that card, right? But when you draw it, you won. Not all the time, I guess, but you did win, you did win in Django, and it, like, Boba Fett was very viable because of that. Like, Boba Fett was way more viable than he is now because of that Triple Dark Raid card.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to beat a dead horse, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, I don't want to make this like such a big thing, and like maybe Tanner is blowing this out of the water, but I feel
think it's a very legitimate discussion for sure.
I feel like this is something that, like, the community should be talking about, because I do believe FFG listens to us a little bit, right? Like, I think they made their own decision on Django, but I do think that they were listening to community input. In my opinion, they were. And I feel that, like, if we have this conversation and enough of us talk through this and talk about this, like, can we help push FSG so that they don't make... The last thing I want to do is go to Worlds and have to play a Force deck, because everybody's just going to spend all their resources playing Force Throw, recurring Force Throw, kill you. Like, I don't know. It's a very cheap Power of the Dark Side with 0 down effects for you as an individual. Unless everybody just starts running cards to tech against it, right? I guess a regional governor can tech against it. You can't force throw a regional governor when I tell you can't play force through, but that feels bad to have to do that. Like, it feels bad to play a 4 health unit that you could just kill in 2 turns, you know, or 1 turn if you got enough units out, you know. I don't know. Anybody else have any other thoughts on it before we wrap up?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people call out for a ban on force throw. Again, if it becomes a problem, totally for it. Well, we just have to wait. I think a preemptive ban's a little bit strange.
Fair enough. And I think FFG has not typically done that, but I think the difference is we're going... The only difference, Alex, is I think we're going into a world championship, right? So, like, if they're going to ban it, let's ban it now, or don't ban it for that whole championship and just, like, let force units run wild. That's my opinion, right? Like, I could tell you in Mother Talzin, force throw, like, I would never have normally, like, thought of that as a card, but, like, I can now play that in Power of the Dark Side, and I'm killing units like nobody... It's bad. Like, I shouldn't be able to kill units just that easily. Like, for Mother Talzin, I didn't think should be that good of a freaking leader, but she is, like, I'm having a lot of success being between the force throws, powers, and some of the negative status effects that she can give, more than I thought she was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, when you give people negative stats, there's literally nothing they can do about that, right? So,
yeah,
you get very little counterplay with that.
Exactly. And I think that's where the question becomes in is force throw just going to make things, certain decks, be so good that it needs to be taken care of. So let us know in the comments. How about that? That's what I would say. Let us know in the comments of the video. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us, should we ban force throw? I know this is going to cause a controversial stir, and that's what I'm here for, baby. Boost the likes on the video. Boost our channel. Let's create some controversy. Everyone. Yeah, I'm not even angry about this. This one I'm not even angry about. You know, I told you guys back last year in July, Django was a problem and should have been banned. And then they banned Boba
just
Fett.
Like, no, because Boba's a thing.
Yep, and then they banned Boba. And then I said, Django's going to be a problem. You need to ban Django. And then look what they did. They banned Django. You know, we got him for a whole set, and then they got rid of him. So
and I just played Control and never had an issue.
Yeah, well,
that's a unique situation, though.
Yes. Anyway, so thank you all so much for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure to do 2 casts in one weekend. I will tell you that was a lot. There is a chance next weekend we will not be casting on Sunday, and we will probably cast that Tuesday. I don't know. I got some stuff going on next weekend, and it's Father's Day weekend, so I don't really want to push the guys to get on board at 9:00 at night. JJ will probably be drunk. And you know, like I don't know what a drunk JJ Thrawn list looks like, but it's probably one of.
And you're assuming I'm going with Thrawn, bro. I'll pick like Finn or Rose or something.
Finn, a one-off Finn deck with only one ofs, and then like a couple of 4 ofs, and then like villain units.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me build this on Swoo DP, so I just had to like manually edit it myself in Photoshop. So here it is, guys.
Yeah, so next we will not be casting. I will just tell you right now, we're not going to cast next Sunday, just because of Father's Day, and we did 2 casts this week, man. Like, yeah, like so. I'm excited. I want to give the guys a little bit longer time. We will, when we do come back, we are going to be probably doing leader rankings. So I would like to do some leader rankings. I don't know if that'll be next week or the week after, but I want to do leader rankings for the new set because we always do that. Alex is working on preparing us a pre-release guide, and we do that every set as well. So Alex is working on that. That will not be next week, but Alex is working on it. And next week, I'm going to encourage the guys to have at least one brand new list with some new stuff in it that they think is good. I don't care if it's a new leader or an old leader. I don't care. Just give me a list. or two. Give me a couple of lists. I want to talk about some new lists because I'm very excited to start putting some of these people on the table, some of these new units, especially, man, I love that new Vader unit. I just like that new Vader unit. I like it. I just like Vader units. And you know who he works really well with? He works really well with Lom Pike, baby.
Well, yeah.
Lom Pike just gives a shield out. Vader swings, kills the unit you gave a shield to. Sucks to be you. I'm so excited for that, man. My Kira deck's gonna be all 4 Lom Pikes and all Vader, baby. Super excited. Anyway, we're gonna end early tonight. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week, Tuesday. If we get around to doing some deck techs, we'll do some deck techs. Otherwise, we'll have some new lists and we'll talk about some leaders next week. Have a good night. We'll see you on the Flippity Flop.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening.